Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Infinite Sauce Talk. This is Ralph speaking. It's been a minute. Happy New Year's to all y'all. Have Merry Christmas, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute because I just been relaxing. Been doing a lot that last year. Trying to get some things done. Trying to get accustomed to new things and everything. So once I got that down, I said, let's do this. And then eventually I had to do it. Now there's a snowstorm outside. Well, it's not really snow. It's more like rain. Weathermen be bullshitting and everything like that. So, yeah. Couple of updates before I proceed. I spoke to the motherfuckers that had the original topic of the preface versus standards. We got to an agreement, maybe a amicable agreement with certain things. Well, I'm trying to get that together. So that's coming out real soon. Hopefully sooner than later. So we just gotta get our chickens together and then we could get something going. But yeah, again, second time, yeah. The topic, I'm gonna go straight into it. Topic on hand. And I've been saving this for a while because I feel like this is probably the last episode before I start inviting people and everything like that. I might do one more, monologue just to talk to you motherfuckers. I miss talking to you motherfuckers. But the topic on hand is environmental trauma. Now, the reason I say environmental trauma is because not for the sake of environment of like, oh, rain, snow, sleet, the neighborhood, the forest is fucking up certain things. No. Not that type of environmental trauma. The environmental trauma that I'm talking about is when you grow up in a rural area and you go through certain things and you carry that with you for the rest of your life. And some people have the special ability to conquer and learn from those lessons from back then. But a lot of times we carry these certain issues, trauma, behaviors, certain things that you can't escape. Once you are in there, a lot of times people just accept their fate and just live their life as basically a hoodlum, a bum ass nigga. Anybody that doesn't proceed or achieve greatness outside of their realm. It's like somebody like a high school varsity player that basically have done ripped their records through in high school, busting their ass from being a freshman to a senior, getting the jackets, getting the rewards and everything like that. And when they went to college, they didn't really do shit. So they still relive on that high school thing till they're like 40, 50s. And you hear these stories and, yo, I done this, I done that. And you know what I mean? Like, there are certain people that get stuck. And a lot of times they get stuck in a place where you can't overachieve it. You're just looking at just the inside of it and never looking forward. You basically, how I put it, yo, you stay in the hood and you do hood shit and you never come out of it. There's plenty of people that do that. Like, I'm going to give you my examples early. I usually have like story time. It's going to be mixed all over the place. So, for example, the area I grew up in, it was the city of Perth Amboy. And Perth Amboy is rural urban area, but it's not like Jersey City, Newark, Trenton, Patterson, Camden, where if you was in the deep end of the slums or whatever the case is, you really was struggling. There was a part of Amboy by where I used to live. I used to live in Green Village, and on the side of Green Village was two residential areas where they had Delaney. It was called Delaney. Then across the street from like a Wendy's was called Dunlap. Those two were basically projects. And those two known areas are where most of like Section 8, most of the people that are getting welfare stamps, all that type of stuff was in that area. So growing up, seeing these things, what I noticed, and this is a trait with most people that have environmental trauma, is once they get into a position where they're comfortable, they get stuck or they get complacent. The better word is complacent. Woo. um, complacent. The reason I say complacent is because most of the people, some of the people when I went into back then in the day, when I went into those areas, I would see people with Benzes and everything like that, knowing that they're getting help, knowing that they're getting all this type of assistance, they will still worry about things that did not associate with progressing, did not associate with success or getting out of the hood. Basically, that is the whole goal and purpose of it. Goal and purpose of assistance is to get you out of somewhere so that you can be in a better place, not that you can stay there for the rest of your life. And this is what happens when people get complacent. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is spread along not only in the projects but the whole city. Basically, I'm not saying that the whole city suffers from this type of disease or like mindset of, yo, I just got help. Let me just stay here and just get a help and suck the life out of whoever's assisting me, and I'm gonna stay here and do my thing and just be an Amboy cat for the rest of my life. And I'm seeing that plenty of people in my life throughout that time. I've seen plenty of people stay in that mindset of, oh, I'm here in my hood. I'm just gonna get a car, make babies, stay gangster. I mean, if I had a gang or whatever the case is, I still doing those gang things and still representing the same thing. Like it's like that over there. And I run through a lot of people that just after they became a certain age, they just want to be family men and make babies and stay in the hood and do their own thing. Like I'm like, bro, like what the fuck? Like now I've learned in life to let everybody live how they want to live. Cool. But the hood mentality of things is very stagnant. Once you turn like 18 and you don't want to, let's say for example, you don't want to proceed in college. Granted, cool. There's been plenty of trade schools that you can do, everything like that. But people decide just to work and work for the rest of their lives and not have a goal in their head to be like, yo, I want to be this. How can I be that? There's a whole plethora of people that just accept their fate and be like, yo, it's all I'm gonna be for the rest of my life quickly, without making a plan, without going through their own process of finding out things and trying to be the best that they can be. They be like, cool, I got a diploma, I'm good on it. Like, I don't got to do no more schooling, I don't got to do no more that. I'm cool here. I got my people here. I got my 5 corners. I got my food places downtown, and that's it. And that's all they do. And I don't want to throw my people under the bus, but Amboy is heavily populated with Hispanics, with plenty of multi-ethnic ethnicities out there, mostly Hispanic though. But that comes from the immigration movement and everything like that. They decided to stay in Perth Amboy because it's very friendly to them. So a lot of people just stay in the area. Now the playbook, and my brother always say, yo, you stay snitching on the playbook. Like, I'm like, this is public though. This is things that I'm not snitching people's names. I'm not doing none of that, but I'm snitching people's playbook just so you can see exactly what they do. So with the immigration movement and everything, there's people that come from many different places under the south of the U.S., Mexico, Central America, Latin America, all those type of things. When they get to the United States, they look for work. They do their thing to provide for themselves, for them kids to have a better opportunity in the United States. And they strive and work hard to achieve the goal of providing. Now, with that being said, a lot of, and I think this is parents' fault, to be honest, where they work so hard that all they do was work. And then there's no other progression besides that. So when you, as parents, teach the now generation that is of now, that's why I say now generation, when you teach that to your kids, You're teaching them just to work, and just because you just need to work and that's it. There's no other plan, no other goal, no other dream. It's because the earlier generations before, as all they did was work. So when they provided that to their future generation, they have that mindset already that, okay, you're just working. Okay, you're just being here. There's no other thing you can do. And that was installed into our generation. And most of us in that city seen that and experienced that firsthand, because a lot of times we would be at home chilling without parental guidance or proper training. And I'm not saying training as in we're in the military type of shit, but like, yo, proper guidance and overseeing things, making sure that you don't fuck up, making sure that you be at home at a certain time. Nah, it was a free for all after that. When you didn't lay the law down as a parent, your son or daughter was just out here learning life within themselves, learning the way of things from the streets. And a lot of times it gets stuck in those minds of being in the urban areas. And when that is not corrected, or that is not deviated in such a way of like, this ain't right. If somebody cared about you and love you, was like, yo, this ain't what you gotta see in your life. Yo, there's way better. There is this, that, and the fourth that you can get. You can go X route and provide for your kids through your own business, through your own dreams and goals, and to go and achieve that. There was none of that. So a lot of times people learned from previous generations. And I'm not putting all the blame on previous generations, because we also have a responsibility too to decide like, yo, do I want to be here for the rest of my life? Why the fuck do I got to just wait till the first of the month, wait till the 15th to get food? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do that. But the earlier generation had a part of the role of teaching the now generation of that. So now there's already a negative of the previous generation that all you've seen was work. And then the now generation is like, okay, I could be comfortable with just working, just getting a car, getting a nice little apartment, whatever the case is, and having kids. And granted, there's nothing wrong with that life. And I'm not talking shit about people that did that shit. What I'm saying is there is a better route of doing things. And you can have your kids, you can have your family, you can have everything. But people will start that off rip and be like, yo, I came out of high school. What else is there for me? Cool. Let me just do one thing. Or not even finish high school and do it already. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. We'll figure it out later. Figuring out later is always the hardest thing. That's why I teach people. Trying to do the hardest thing in life and trying to learn along the way is one of the hardest things you can do. Instead of just planning things and setting aside a goal to go and approach, go and achieve. But in the hood, and I call it the hood, that's what we all do, that is the main issue, that they get complacent. Again, the word complacent is very deep in this environmental trauma. Complacent. In those situations, there's nothing else. Like, you could just achieve it easily. You almost become like an industrial baby. Like, I know the schooling system is outdated, and it's meant for people to be conditioned to work a 9 to 5 and regularly give back to the industrial movement. That's where this school system came from, to keep people in that industrial mindset. A lot of people fall into that. This is where not only in Amboy has those issues, there's other rural areas and other urban areas that have those issues and keep staying there because they need. But that's a whole nother issue with government and all that stuff. But that's what happens in these environments. These environments go through these cycles of, okay, my earlier generation worked. Now generation looked at that. Okay, that's acceptable. I don't need nothing else. Cool. And there's no progress. There's no advancement. It's stagnant, and it's very repetitive, these things. And these things are traumatic not only to the previous generation, which they got complacent to the point where they work forever and ever and don't stop. And You know, it's work first before kids and shit. And that's the earlier generation. Then the now generation is like, oh, what's the easiest for me? I'm gonna take that route, cool, and I'm living that for the rest of my life. Repetition, and always the definition of insanity comes to me. Doing the same thing and expecting different results. That's always how it works in these hood areas. In the hood, like, it always is like that. And it's like 50 to 75% of people that do that type of thing. And it's traumatic, not only to yourself, to the earlier generation, but future generations as well, because they will look up to you, and you got to provide the example. And the example that you provided was, oh, it's cool, you can do what the fuck you want. Like, for example, like I said, I'm not snitching, but I seen somebody that came from an island, came through here, you know, lived in my area for a couple years, this and the fourth, came straight from over there, came to where I used to be at, you know, raised a child, this and the fourth. The kids grew up, and the youngest daughter that I think just turned like 16, then she got pregnant too. And I mean, and it was the same aspect. I think the lady that came here was the same age, and there was no teaching that. It was no, yo, I made this mistake, I just don't want you to commit the same mistakes that I made. There was no talking of that. And I knew that because that person was concentrating on other things. It was concentrating on, instead of advancing in life, they was concentrating on men. That's real shit. And most of them think like that. And it's crazy because there's nothing else in the hood. There's nothing else to think about. The lady had, I think, everything covered. Apartment, husband cheated on her, by the way, whatever cases, did her this thing, whatever. And then the daughters just roamed free. And then one of the younger daughters got pregnant because there was no teaching of, oh, I made this mistake when I was younger. The reason I need to be a little bit more cautious with you, or I want to, for you to have a better life. Look, I had you as a blessing. Cool. You're a blessing to me. But I want you to succeed. I want you to be your own person. But unfortunately, the younger daughter got pregnant at 16. And it has to go through the same struggles that the mother did in America instead of their island. And this is the environmental trauma that people go through. This is a cycle. It keeps on going. And people keep on letting this happen instead of teaching the kids like, yo, I know I had X, Y, and Z. Cool. That was on me. But since you came from me, I want to provide a better example. And the better example is have your own dreams, have your goals, strive for them, plan for these things. And then you, whenever you're done, and this is what my mama told me, yo, fuck around, do what the fuck you want. Because when you have kids, it's all over. It's not about you no more. It's about the kids. So whenever you're done, then you can plan for your kids and do your thing. But people don't get to do that because they're so involved in whatever they're involved in, like work, like other things like a new car, men, women. If you're on the side of men, and if you get somebody pregnant, now you fucked, like, without having a plan. Now you got to scramble to see exactly what you got to do. And you got to be stuck in a situation for a long time until you can try to figure it out. Woman, get pregnant by another dude or whatever the case is. Then they got to figure out their housing situation. And there's so many situations that intertwine within environmental trauma. But it's all about repetition. This is the issue with our society, especially in those rural areas, those urban areas, is repetition. There's a cycle that if you don't teach, you're basically finished. And this cycle keeps going and going. And therefore, you have plenty of motherfuckers that live in one patch of area, which happens to be my city. So you have a playbook of my hood and how they operate and everything, how they get caught up in such traumatic things to where they repeat it over and over. And you see that not only with their kids, kids and everything like that. And it becomes just a stagnant state. Then you go into their mindset. Their mindset shows quickly because there is the other percentage that actually realize, yo, this ain't for me. And shout out to motherfuckers that have done made it from there. I could list you name by name and I fucking salute you. Even though some of us, we beef with each other, we don't like each other, I could still salute you for what you did. But I'm not snitching names on here, neither am I mentioning this shit because that's not my style. I'll probably do that personally if I need to. But the smaller percentage again done realize like, yo, this ain't my life. I want to do something better and I want to get to that point. So some people did that, right? And some people made it, went to different cities. And this is what I learned. You can, in order to grow, you need to get the fuck out your city. I've learned that. And that's one of the steps that they did. They went out of their city and then started doing their thing and progressed and everything like that. Now, a lot of times we have family, we have people that we have to go back to that same city. So a lot of times we go back and we obviously run into people. And those people, you can see their mindset to where somebody that has made it goes back to their old hood. And the people from the old hood be like, oh, you mad Hollywood, bro. Like, yo, you left. Like, you don't give a fuck. Like, you're just out here just doing your thing. And you don't think about your old people. And that's usually almost like if somebody's begging you for change and knowing that you got it, they still beg you for change. That's usually the situation that is compared to what people do when somebody successful goes back to the just to see somebody and they run into people and they have to have this conversation and they be like, yo, bro, you forgot about us. And usually that's how it is, because if you're not from there, you leave there, you're not from there anymore. You are Hollywood now. That's what I got told a couple of times in my life, that I was Hollywood. And I took that nickname and I fucking embraced it because I was like, if I'm Hollywood, that means I made it. You feel me? So what people do subconsciously from that area, they'll be like, yo, fuck out of here. We don't need you. Or, nigga, you hella bougie. Like, yo, you not with us, or you not standing by us old people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people basically shoo you away. Even if you try to help them, even if you try to, because they want to be in that cycle still. They're comfortable where they at. So they don't want somebody to come from the outside disturbing that. They're like, oh, fuck that. And that's why we go back to our successful lives and doing our thing. And, you know, everybody else goes back to their cycle of bumness. And I don't know what else to call it, for lack of better words. You know what I'm saying? So their mentality closes people off from helping them. It's more of like, yo, I'm here and I'm valid. Like the story of one of Jesus' miracles where there was a person that was paralyzed and was at the pool. And now this pool had always sprung out once every couple of days. And if you was the first person that reached out to that spring, you were healed. And this person was paralyzed, so he couldn't move. So he tries to inch his way through for years and years and years and years. And one day he gave up. He was tired. He was like, yo, fuck this, and the fourth. Then Jesus, this is one of the miracles of Jesus. Jesus went to him, was like, yo, bro, I know you. And he was like, bro, you don't know me. Like, what are you talking about? And Jesus like, I know you. And he's like, what do you need to do for me? I'm not anybody. So in this situation, Jesus is like, yo, I've seen your faith, dog. You have faith that water is going to save you. When you have everlasting water that's in front of you, dogs, get up, take your mat and walk. At first he was hesitant because he was like, bro, he's so used to being in a state of despair and anguish that he was used to being disappointed. So he didn't believe in that. He was like, nah, because he was so used to it. But he was like, who are you? He was like, and Jesus was like, I am who I am. And eventually, long story short, the dude got up and packed his bag and walked with Jesus. Now, to compare that story, hoodlums or anybody that's in that state is the paralyzed guy before Jesus saves him, because they're so stuck in believing one thing that will never happen, and they get stuck in despair and be complacent with the fact that they'll never reach it because they're paralyzed. And that's usually how things work in this society of where people are from the hood, and then there's people that succeeded, and the successors usually go out and help or try to be like, yo, I'm gonna take you. And the hood people be like, nah, I don't need it. I don't want it because I'm good. Some people are good where they at, and you can't blame them for that because that's human nature. My mama used to tell me, and she always still tell me to this day, if you are an eagle, you can't fly with turkeys. Turkeys can't fly with you. They can't even reach up. Like, they can't even look up. They got to look straight ahead. They can't look up like that because they're so used to running ahead, bro. They're not flying with eagles that are soaring above mountains and everything like that. And you're an eagle, you can't fly with turkeys. So if people stay in that situation, sometimes you gotta leave them be. You still respect them because they're human beings and they live their lives just like anybody else would. But sometimes you gotta leave them where they at. Still respect them, still love them to this day, but you gotta leave them where they at. And that's what a lot of people go through. A lot of people want to help and they can't because those people are stuck in their ways. And that's one of the factors in environmental trauma is we're products of our environment. So we see all this. And we have to deal with the outside world too that puts us in that category. For example, I have somebody that has like almost when they're in the professional mode, they have perfect vernacular to speak as a professional to somebody. And they come from where I come from. And when people ask, because she sounds so brilliant, people ask where she comes from, she tells them Perth Amboy. And they're in shock because they're like, wait a minute, you're from that place and you have X, Y, and Z as your accomplishments and you don't sound like you from that. That's what we have to deal with as people, especially a product of my environment. As a product of my environment, I have to deal with that. Even in my current position, when I told them where I was from, they looked at me like I was weird. Like if I didn't belong there, like, girl, what are you doing here? And that's what we got to deal with in general. Like when we tell people where we from and how we came from things, they're looking at us like, bro, you supposed to be where the people that are in cycles at. What are you doing here? So not only that people got to deal with the inside of their cycles of environmental trauma, people that came out of that and became better people also get judged for where they came from. And that's one of the traumas as well, that they have to work twice as hard and become twice as better people just so that they can have a seat at the table. And that's not how it's supposed to work. Everybody's supposed to be equal of perspective. If I look at you as a human being with respect. Cool. There shouldn't be any bias, any stereotypical things. If you're this color of orange, I expect X, Y, and Z. That's not how we're supposed to look at things. We're supposed to look at people like carcasses of clay, like nothing you can judge or predetermine things. Everybody's supposed to have an equal shot. But when you come from the hood, or you come from those urban areas, those rural areas, when you go into these professional settings, when you go into places where you're trying to climb the pyramids of life and the hierarchies of needs like Maslow and shit like that, when you're trying to climb to the self-actualization point, you have to work twice as hard because they don't believe in you, because they think you're still from that area that is only about Section 8 and welfare and crime and anything that associates with a fucking urban area. They put that on you. And you have to work twice as hard to scrub that image away from people that have predetermined that in their heads because you said 2 words, Perth Amboy. And that's crazy how we got to do that as people that came from there. And we also get overlooked over certain things because of that. They rather have somebody that has a modern standpoint and a modern upbringing. And it's like, bro, sometimes the strongest people come from the difficultest situations. And that's what people need to realize, is that the hardest warriors can come from the hardest situations, not people that just got silver spoon fed and got handed things to them. People from our situation are way harder workers. They know the struggle. They know where that comes from. And that is another traumatic experience that we come from the environment, is that we have seen most of those situations up to our faces. A lot of people in our lifetime that we cross through has never seen these things. So it prepares you for the worst scenario, because the worst has happened in front of us. So we're gonna be like, yo, all right, cool. Let's say, for example, I go to a large city, let's say Manhattan, whatever, and I'm walking by. I'm looking around my fucking surrounding areas because I don't want somebody to pop up. Whether I'm with people, I rather walk. For example, I rather walk behind my people because I know I'm the biggest person there. Like, I got some muscles, I got, what I mean, I'm a little husky here and there, whatever the case is, but I got little muscles. So let's say, for example, something pops off, I got the control in front of me. Not that they can come from behind me. They can possibly do that, but I'm overseeing all the situations from all sides. And that comes from looking out for yourself when you're in the hood and you're like, all right, cool. Somebody, I've been in situations where I got jumped, Only a scratch on me. I ain't never got hurt off of being jumped and none of that shit. But it prepares you for those things. And you go into any place feeling like you have to go to war every time, or you become antsy and you're like trying to look around to see what's going on. Like, I see certain people, what they do is like, and I've adapted this too, is let's say, for example, if I'm with a lady, like I'll make sure that I'm in front of the front door just in case I have to be like, yo, get out the way. I grab the lady and protect her and everything like that. These things are standard, but yes, that also comes from being from the hood. Cause you never know what happens when somebody could run up in your shit and just do what they gotta do to eliminate you or take you out and shit. Like, those situations prepare you for the real life world. So a lot of times you do certain things that you're almost becoming militant when you go around and shit, but you don't have to be. You're like, you have PTSD, and a lot of people go through that trauma of PTSD of freedom from the hood. When they hear balloons pop, they're like, oh shit, first thing they hear is gunshots and they fucking dip. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that are stuck in their head, and you have to know how to get over those things. You have to learn how to differentiate your now life from your past life. And those traumas you have to work on daily in order to be a better person. And talking about those type of things, I just remembered out of the top of my head, we also look at situations, we're like, bro, this ain't for me. For example, like, I got a group of people that come from where they come from, and they come from the same struggles that I did or anybody else did in a hoodlum environment. And I don't want to say hoodlum environment, a rural urban environment. So we know certain things so that when we intertwine with people that haven't been in that situation or react in a certain way when we're acting, I don't want to say hoodlumish or heathens or shit like that, but sometimes we like to enjoy things in a different manner. And they look at us like, oh, where you come from type of shit. And that's why a lot of times we're wired to be like, yo, fuck them. Fuck anybody that was giving shit or they lived life easy. They had 2-parent family homes and they got the college paid and everything was fucking easy for them. And they was like, all right, cool. And you never heard a struggle from their life or that they didn't go through certain things. They live in a neighborhood. And so you're looking at them like, ew, like, yo, you hella fucking silver spoon fed. Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Or that person hangs around people and they have such a demeanor of, I got everything given to me. And they come from a different place and they might be cool people, but you in your head, you're like, I can't trust these people because they haven't been through the same struggle that I've been through. So if something pops off by any chance of reason, will they retaliate or think about in a situation they become a civilian and throw you under the bus because you are from that environment? And they blame you for that shit. And that goes through your head because you come from that environment. So you're like, yo, you don't trust those people off rip because You come from a place where you ate eggs and rice for 2 years, or you went to go around collecting 50 cents for honey buns and shit, or got together with a group, was like, yo, how much you got? Yo, we combined and we split like 3 ways pork fried rice. Like, we've been through that. And so when we see people that haven't been through that, we already have a sense of like, oh, these people ain't shit. Like, because they got everything, so they don't appreciate much, so they're gonna act snobby. We already have that preconception of them, that they're gonna think that way towards us, and us towards them. So one of the traumatic things that we go through is not trusting people that have came from the same places where poverty wasn't an issue, where everything was given and not earned, and things were smooth in their life. You know what I'm saying? People don't struggle the way that we did, so we look at them differently. For example, and I give you a perfect example, I just went through this. I seen the news where the migrants were coming from Texas and everything. They've been delivering people from Texas to New York because Texas governor's a fucking idiot. Fuck that nigga. And they get delivered at all times of the day. So sometimes there is an acceptance period in New York. So because they go from Texas to New York. So the acceptance period, I think, is early night. Like, that's the end. The last, I think it's like 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. I'm not too sure. But Texas sent a bus full of people to New York early in the morning hours. And obviously New York is not going to accept it because they have their time period and everything like that. So one bus stopped in Edison, and the Edison mayor got a call, and he told them to get the fuck out of here. And I think News 12 interviewed him and said, yo, so why did you negate the entrance of migrants to your city? And he said, I don't want them in my city. He stated that it was a federal thing that they needed to handle and everything, but they don't want their presence in our city because they don't have the funds or anything like that. But he said it in such a way, like if he was almost Donald Trump, where he didn't want to accept none of them at all, even if they had the funds. So he said it like, I don't welcome them in my city. And coming from immigrant parents and everything like that, that did it both ways, in a legal and illegal way and everything like that. Like, I felt the way. I was like, bro, I will smack the fucking fire out you when I see you, my nigga. Because I know good and damn well you came from an immigrant type of life, came here, got education because your parents forced it on you. Because usually those type of, I want to say South Asian people, they do that. They force them kids to go to school. You're going to have to go to school. You get the fuck out, basically. And you have all this life that was given to you, and now you become the mayor of Edison and you say the dumb shit like that. And this story doesn't have to involve with hood type of stuff, but this is what we look at in a sense. This is a comparison. So where I come from, I'm a product of my environment. So when I hear shit like this, I'm like, yo, this is why I don't trust people that are giving everything to them. And if they have a struggle story or any type of shit, I don't believe them, because they talk in such a way that they feel like they're privileged enough to be in a city full of fucking immigrants. All they want is a better life and opportunity for themselves. And you know that shit because they're your own people, but you would say that about people from down from Mexico, Central America, Latin America. It comes out your fucking mouth. So that means you never went through that shit because you are privileged enough to be here to have this situation, and you don't want that because that's not your type. This is why people like us don't trust people like that, because this is how they feel. They feel like they're the people, the migrants are second-class citizens, and that's not worth it. They want the same opportunity your parents did. This is why I want to smack the fuck out of him. I don't give a fuck if it's on recording. I want to smack the fuck out of him because we know that you didn't come from that. So that's why you talking shit, because if you appreciated that, you appreciate where you came from, the opportunity that you got, that your parents gave you, and you give this nonsense of a fucking answer that you don't welcome these migrants that want a better life, This is why we go through shit like this. And this is a separate topic almost, but it correlates with our thought process. Where we come from, we don't trust these type of people. And we automatically be like, yo, nah, this is why. Because we have responses from people that don't appreciate where they come from, that got spoon fed, that didn't earn anything. They just got given their education. They don't have to worry about loans. They don't have to worry about struggle. They don't have to worry about none of that shit. And this is why people would come from that area struggle with trusting people like that. And that's traumatic. It's trauma that's inside. It's like, bro, even certain people that I know, and I'm like, nah, I'm not hanging around with these people because they look at us like we fucking second class citizens. There's people that are close around me that do that shit. And I'm like, bro, nah, don't fucking do that. I don't even want to be around them people if you're going to do that. We act different. We do things different. We celebrate things different. And if you have issues with that, I've seen that. This is part of the mindset of what happens where you come from. And then when you mix yourself with different people that come from different areas, and then they look at you like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you type of shit. When it's all innocent and it's all love, you know what I'm saying? So when they look at you and they treat you in a certain way, it comes from an inadvertent state of mind of, I don't fuck with these niggas, but I have to respect them because they're there. Nah, just don't, yo. This is the traumatic, and I'm talking from experience. So this is one of the things that we go through. We go through the mindset of one, thinking that people that got given things and didn't earn things are privileged. And two, when somebody critiqued us when we're trying to act normal and everything like that, that we act in a certain way, that they don't understand it because we are where we come from. And they are where they come from. So they deal with shit differently. So they look at us like, bro, all right, my nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shoo us away type of shit. So it's a double struggle with what people go through in terms of, and it's traumatic. It's environmental trauma. It comes from those places where you come from. You have a double-edged sword of dealing with those type of people that way. You like, all right, I don't trust them because they from here. And they don't trust me because I'm from there. And we have that struggle every single day. And then we got to deal with our own people. And I think this is one of the last things before I wrap it up and everything like that. We have people that from our own area talk shit about us. I have dealt with it for plenty of years. That people will be like, yo, this nigga did this. He's that. He's not built for this life because he left. He is such and such because he did a different route. What you want me to sell drugs? You want me to go out and become this big ass kingpin? You're gonna respect me? What am I doing that for? Why am I earning the respect of people that are stuck in a cycle? That are stuck in their ways. Like, bro, that's not gonna advance me to do nothing. I've been through that. The struggle generally in this point is people from their own hood talk about the people from their own hood. Instead of cheering on the people that made it and trying to get more people to get out and do their thing, they start talking mad shit. Like, for example, I give you my personal experience. For example, they say I'm a soft ass nigga. Cool, I'll take it. You know why I'll take it? Because I'm a soft ass nigga that got bread, that got money, that got his own thing. What the fuck you have? Kids? Child support? Nigga, I don't want none of that shit. Like, why you talking shit about a man that's done made it and done did a thing, and now you're like, yo, this nigga's a bitch ass nigga because, you know, people say shit and don't have basis on what they say. And it's usually people from their own area where they come from. They're like, yo, this person ain't do shit, without knowing the facts of what he did, because they don't like what you do, what you represent. I've had people accuse me of some wild ass shit, and because I decided to play basketball, I decided to do physical activities rather than sell drugs, they accused me on some wild shit. Now, I'm not gonna go into details because I don't think this should be even a fucking entertainable thing to bring up. But there are certain allegations, and I'm like, bro, don't do that shit. You mad cause you got stuck with your life? You mad cause you over here struggling? You dealing with hood shit? You dealing with shit that you didn't that your man's brought to you because you for part of the gang? You part of this? You part of that? You gotta deal with that shit. Even with your kids and all that shit, you gotta deal with that. I don't gotta deal with none of that shit. I don't have to fuck with none of you motherfuckers. This real shit. I'm talking to you because I'm like, yo. Why do you bring down a man that comes from your same area that could fucking help you? That's dumb. That's stupid. People just don't respect anything. When you come from your area and you do your thing and you're successful and everything like that, the most they could say is either two things. They could either respect what you're doing, which rarely doesn't happen, especially in hood to hood confrontations and all that stuff, or same hood type of ideals, or they're gonna lie on you, which most people do. And a lot of people have said and things and slandered my name. And if I see you and this get brought up, we gonna have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's more of, bro, I'm not here to bring anybody down. I'm here to help people. I'm here to try to advance people. And this is what the problem is with environmental trauma. You come from where you come from. You became a failure. You only can do things for your future, which is your kids or whatever the fuck you doing in your hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's your shit. But don't bring down the motherfucker that has went across that border, that crossed over and didn't die, like Drake said. I think it was the Big Amount song. I crossed over and I didn't die. I think that's the biggest problem that we have is basically our own people try to bring down their own people. Like, it's wild and crazy. Like, for me, I could right now go into, because I felt the energy. I could go right now into a rant and go by each and every person and see what they done. In my hood, in my area where I came from, there are certain people that made it. I salute them. Good shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there are most of the people that I could be like, yo, you done X, Y, and Z. And those people have done talk shit about me and said certain things. And I'm like, bro, but you have 2 baby moms, 5 kids, this, that, and the fourth. You struggling. You stuck in the same hood I came from 25 years ago. Like, you can't make this shit up. Like, and this is what happens. A motherfucker that's trying to just reach out to them and be like, yo, what's good? I remember one time I seen one of my people, like younger generation and everything like that. Yo, I was like, yo, God bless your heart. I hope you doing good. Yo, here's $10 or whatever the case is. Yo, buy yourself something. You know what I'm saying? Because I see you still doing, your thing out here. Hopefully you do better. You do well. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck to you. And then I heard from the grapevine that people was talking shit like I was trying to buy people's loyalty or this, that, and the fourth. And, you can't do X, Y, and Z because you're just built different. You're this, that, and the fourth. I'm like, yo, how? When I'm showing love to my own people and this is what you do. This is exactly what happens. People try to bring down their own people. I think this is a overall, whatever you go through, every race, there's a certain percentage that do this to their own people, that they bring out their own people. And especially in the hood, this is what happens. People come from the strange struggle and still struggle, and some people make it out of it. And then they be like mad as hell because that person made it out of there. That's fucking crazy. Like, this is one of the issues and deep-rooted issues of environmental trauma. That we try to bring down our own people. That's fucking crazy. I think that's one of the things that pissed me off is that. Because it's like, bro, if you didn't make it, don't talk shit about the person that did. Or don't talk about your future that they won't make it because you didn't make it. Don't do that. if you failed, you failed on your own. Pause on everything. Swallow that. Swallow that shit. Eat that shit. That's on you. Don't treat the future or anybody that made it out of there with the same disgust that you have on your own life. Don't reflect that on us, my nigga. Like, this is what we go through. This is what happens. This is the mindset, the product of my environment, where I came from. This is what I got to deal with. And the reason I'm talking so passionately now, because it's like, bro, why are you still stuck on your shit? Why are you still trying to bring down people? Better your life, my nigga. Better your fucking outcome. Make sure that your kids make it out of there. You know what? Fuck you, my nigga. Fuck what you come from, dogs. Make sure that your kids are set up for success and everything like that. Make sure that they do their thing. Make sure that they have a better future than your bum ass did. That's real shit. I don't wish no harm on anybody, no bad on anybody, because I done forgave people for what they said or did or whatever the case is to me alone. But my recommendation to you motherfuckers is do better. And the people that have made it, congratulations to you. I'm happy. Proud of you, dogs. Appreciate where you came from, but don't let it become you. But appreciate where you came from. Sometimes you need to humble yourself. Sometimes we get stuck in the cloud nine that we got to remember ourselves. Back then, I used to not claim my city. Now I'm like, that's my hometown. Because that's where I came from. Can't deny that. You can't take that away from me. That's how it is. Because now there's a success story from that. And those success stories need to help out the people that has been struggling. Help as much as you can, but don't become a crutch to them. Teach them. The last advice I give today is, if you're not from those areas, don't become or don't act those type of ways, because that struggle could become you. That trauma can become you immediately. I've seen a lot of people do it. I've seen people on Instagram like T.I. Sung, I think King, did some bullshit and try to get arrested or whatever the case is, and said, "Yo, I'm from my father's, cloth or whatever the case is." And bro, you had mansions, you had homeschooling, you had all that. You didn't come from that, but you still want to glorify the streets, bro. That's not how it works. And that doesn't work well for you, because now you want those problems. And you're not built for those problems because you never seen them up close and personal. So if you didn't see these things up close and personal, appreciate where you come from. Again, this comes from a genuine place. Appreciate where you come from, but don't let it become you. That advice applies to this situation too. A lot of people want to become hood. They want to become gangsters. They want to experience that street mentality or that street life. And to be honest, it doesn't work or it doesn't pay off whatsoever. Whether you want it for clout, whether you want it for fame, whether you want it for anything, any of your thinking, your purpose, anything, bro, leave it alone. It wasn't a choice for a lot of people. So you have the choice to go and experience that struggle, or you have the choice to move on. I've seen a lot of people loot places and do certain things that they wasn't about that life. Bro, stop it. Stop impressing people. One thing in human nature, everybody's for themselves. When you learn that, you become a better person. And the reason I say that is because people are not going to like your ass. Whether you do hoodlum shit or not, they're not going to like your ass. You might as well find yourself and become you. Learn yourself in the process. Learn yourself what you like. And appreciate where you come from. Again, this advice is very essential, so I'm going to keep repeating it over and over. And my peoples don't like that I repeat and I keep stumbling and all that shit. But this is passionate. And the reason I keep repeating it is because it's very important. This is why. This is the explanation. Appreciate where you come from. So if you didn't come from that shit, Thank your parents that you didn't go through that struggle. Thank your parents that you didn't have to go through those things. And don't let it become you. Don't let you be stagnant where you at, even in that situation too. Become better. Become you. This is all I have for today. And I felt like it was a lot of passion. I went into this because I needed to reiterate some things. And especially with the shit talking, I don't give a fuck about that no more. And I think I let it go now. On this episode, I had to let it go. Because certain times, I'm like, yo, why do people still talk about me? I don't even affect them. But when you shine that bright, baby, you shine that motherfucking bright, there always going to be people talking about you. So you have to accept that fact. So for you naysayers, the favorite word of the week is naysayers. For you naysayers that got some shit to say it to my face, bro. Talk to me. Let me inform you about your life. Maybe I can help you with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can help you switch your mind to be better instead of talking shit. Let somebody help you. Man. Whew. I'll probably do a part 2, probably addressing a couple of things because I felt like this was super vague. And it's vague for a reason because I don't want to put no details out there or anything like that. But man, we have some trauma in the hood. Anybody that has made it, that has survived it, that has thrived through better times, give a handout. Pay your dues. Because everything could be taken away from you in an instant. So appreciate where you come from. Appreciate what you got. Appreciate everything. Give thanks to whoever you believe in. And give thanks that you could open up your eyes every single day to become better. For one day that you'll make it, you'll be like, yo, I did it. And you could look back and be like, you know what? Let me help somebody. Because they was in my position. Like I said, I would probably do a part 2. So I need to address some things. Next up on the list, and I feel like this is going to be very important. I'll probably do prefaces versus standards part 2, but in the original group. We will discuss this. We will get it together. And also, I'm trying to get that whole father issues thing with my cousin. I think there's a couple of things I think we need to learn in terms of that. But there are great things coming soon in 2024. Whether you come from the hood, whether you come from a suburban area, whether you come from the wealth, when you come from the poverty line, may everything be better for you in 2024. We got great things coming soon. I think, like I said, preference versus standards is next. And we go work on that. If not, I will hit you with another one whenever I can. I'm out. Thank you. God bless. May the Lord bless y'all. This is Infinite Sauce Talk. I'm gone.